let's understand what is free will without bringing in a higher dimensional consciousness into the picture. Let's understand it in terms of how we have defined the nature of reality and our place in it. If you actually think about it, if you derive the idea of free will purely based on theories and concepts of evolution, there is no meaning to the word free will. It doesn't exist at all. How can there be a free will to an organism that has evolved? It is a product of millions of years of interaction with the environment. And it has been designed or evolved to pass on its genes. That is its purpose. Where is individuality here? Where is choice? Where is the concept of free will? In fact, theory of evolution completely removes free will. It doesn't exist at all. Each organism is interacting with its environment in a way that it can help it to survive, reproduce, and pass on the genes. That is it. What appears to be free will is simply the choices that are being made for the organism, not by the organism. This is our understanding of free will. It doesn't even exist. Now, let's bring in consciousness. The whole idea of free will emerges because there is an existential totality. And that totality is operating as a totality every moment without any restrictions. Whatever is happening perceptually to this totality. Free will exists. Free will as a concept, as an idea, can be derived only from consciousness. We have been exercising our choice. We are creatures capable of exercising choice. But because we never understood what consciousness is, we didn't even know we had a choice. We completely confused our individual choices with the decision that is helping us to survive and reproduce. We intermixed choice with a process. That is why theory of evolution cannot explain a million things that are happening inside an individual. Why do we love music? Why do we sing and dance? Why is there this natural, instinctive, intuitive understanding of things where we feel like connecting to things? We feel like playing with things. Why do we care? Why do we love? Why do we suffer? There is absolutely no explanation for any of this in theory of evolution. It is a very crude, dull, blunted knife that chops at everything blindly. In the same way, Even the most delicate of things, you present it in front of theory of evolution, it cuts it into pieces using a very crude knife to bring down an existential phenomenon, aliveness, consciousness, experiences, to such small, simple purpose. Oh, it's because we got to pass on the genes. Why is there beauty? Oh, it's because organisms need it for their survival. Why does a male animal look at the female animal and get attracted to her? Oh, it's because he sees an opportunity to pass on his genes. Really? It's not a part of our structure of thinking at all. When we appreciate beauty for an intrinsic quality of that beauty. We are not thinking about an external purpose. We're not thinking about what you can derive or what we can get out of that beauty. Now, that is a very cunning, manipulative way of doing. So, are we saying that existence is so cunning, so manipulative, that it uses beauty as a disguise to get what it wants to get done? That's exactly what we've been saying. Existence is blind. It simply wants to multiply. And it uses all subtle, very nuanced qualities, beauty, knowledge, understanding, to cover its true motive. We have never critically analyzed theory of evolution because we never had a better theory. You can only critically analyze something when you have an alternative. And if you criticize something without providing an alternative, you are in the religious category. What's your alternative? If a religious person criticizes theory of evolution, it is not even taken as an argument. Even valid arguments are not entertained because where is your alternative? If going to the church and believing in a bearded man or the one hung on the cross is your alternative, right there, I am not interested in your arguments. So, I will not subject myself to deep criticism. But now we can. Now, we don't have to bring in a religious argument. We can leave the bearded man alone. We can analyze our scientific theories very critically, using consciousness as the backdrop. Then we'll know whether it's making sense or not. Theory of evolution makes brilliant sense when you see it as a total limitation of understanding. We don't know the deeper layers of existence. We don't know where taste comes from. We don't know where smell comes from. We don't have a way of defining subjective internal experiences. We don't even know why do we have to experience anything at all to reproduce, to pass on your genes. Why do you need experience? Why do you need to suffer? There's no answer to this question because experience, suffering, happiness, joy, all these can only be experienced by an entity that is complete by nature. When that completeness is obstructed in some way, you get all these differing experiences. Now, we see this phenomenon in life. Somehow we have never been able to extrapolate this. We know light splits up into many colors when it is obstructed. 7 colors don't make up light. If you put together 7 colors in whatever combination, you will not get pure light. You can only derive the lower distorted expressions from the absolute. Water, because it is colorless, because it is tasteless, because it is what it is, it can become the basic substrate for life. It can accommodate many things in it. Because its properties are so simple, it is not polluted by its own properties, that we can do many things. In exactly the same way, if we are having different experiences, sometimes we are happy, sometimes we are sad, sometimes we are alive and awake to everything that is happening around us, sometimes we are not sure what's happening, we sleep, we wake up. There are a million different experiences. We are smelling things, we are tasting things, we are thinking, imagining. But what is the commonality in all these experiences? The commonality is there is an experiencing entity. There is someone, there is something to which all these things are happening. In exactly the same way, there are many colors. They exist because there is a pure light. And when it is obstructed by something, it is splitting up. In exactly the same way, there is consciousness. There is a totality. There is an entity that is so complete in itself, nothing can surpass that completeness. It is a dimension where there is no limitation of space, there is no limitation of time, which means on each and every point, this thing is all the points. Each moment, it is experiencing itself as every single thing that it can hold and contain. That is why experience is possible. We have never understood like this. We've been struggling and struggling and struggling to understand how is it that these things are generated in the brain. Where does consciousness reside in the brain? And how can it reside in a physical brain that is cut off from light? It is in a dark room. And yet it is giving us perception of light. There is something fundamentally wrong in the way we've been thinking. But the problem is, without nailing down what consciousness is, there is no way we can explain the phenomenon of life. So in a way, we have been in the dark all this while. That is why our theories, our explanations have all been very complicated.